What is up, my dashing dudes? I am the Hans TV, and today we're gonna find out what happens when people get their BS corrected in our first installment of r/QuitYourBS. Our first story for the day comes from Ep.1. Context matters. Sandman is one of the most homophobic and transphobic comics DC has ever published, and the fact that it's getting a Netflix show is incredibly insulting. All the gay relationships involve abuse or cheating. The trans woman character is drawn like a cis man, even though she's transitioned, until she dies and gets a beautiful cis woman body in the afterlife. Desire, a gender fluid character, literally rakes a woman in a coma. Please stop acting like the LGBT rep in these comics did anything except reinforce negative stereotypes. No, not all the gay relationships are about abuse or cheating. They are treated like real relationships, so there is the potential for those things, but they don't exist in all the gay relationships within Sandman, not even remotely. Alex and Paul's relationship is not abusive, and despite the cruel fate dealt to Alex, he is eventually released and reunited with Paul. Their relationship is perfectly fine. They're just two old men who love each other. Hazel and Foxglove, Donna, are not abusive. Yes, Hazel has a one-night stand, but that's common with all relationships, gay or straight, and they get a happy ending after working through their relationship troubles, like any normal, healthy relationship. In fact, their standalone story, Death, the High Cost of Living, won a GLAAD award for representation in the mid-90s, when no one else was writing realistic lesbian couples in the comics. John Constantine is bisexual and portrayed as a good and compassionate man. Cluracan and Loki are also bisexual. The Corinthian is gay, and though his first incarnation is kind of horrible, his second incarnation is much nicer, as far as nightmare entities go. As for the one trans character, Wanda wasn't fully medically transitioned. She identified as a woman, but she still had masculine bodily traits because she was scared of surgery. That's part of her character, and that fact that she is a woman with or without those surgeries was the point, because back in the early 1990s, heck, even now, there are people who say you don't count unless you fully medically transition. She didn't want to because she was afraid of the surgery, but she fought tooth and nail to still be considered a woman. The afterlife thing was to show the cishet readers, see, she was always a woman inside and out. That was the point. Neil Gaiman based Wanda on a real person he knew. I personally know a trans man friend who told me Wanda, Sandman's trans character, saved his life because he felt utterly alone in what he was going through, and now his family treats him, misgendering him and refusing to use his true name by still calling him by his dead name. I can never begrudge a character that I strongly suspect saved a friend's life. It's true, desire does rape someone. Desire is the living embodiment of desires, hence the name. There's good and bad desires. Desires are not always nice. Desire does some pretty terrible things in the original run of Sandman, but in Sandman Overture, Desire helps save the universe, and in the current Sandman spin-offs, Desire helped Rose Walker, Desire's granddaughter. You are so determined to see things as problematic that you ignore the context, the time period, and the lack of representation. I also feel you should know that Neil Gaiman's daughter is a lesbian, and his wife is bisexual. Context has a way of ruining a disingenuous rant. Easier to omit it for the OP's intended goal of painting Gaiman as the boogeyman. I don't understand much of this, as I haven't done much research into this specific topic, but I do understand that OP needs to quit the bullshit. This next thing comes from Jorimo, Environmental Health Inspector. As an environmental health inspector, I am not thrilled. This dude's a fraud. I am not thrilled. But your post history says you're 21 and work at a kebab shop with a Turkish owner. Oof. Post history back at it again with making people quit the bullshit. This next post comes from Jaded Air, Anti-Vaxxer Down. A simple risk/benefit analysis quickly tells any rational person that Gardasil is one of the biggest medical scandals in history. It only takes one fact to explain this. Cervical cancer death rate, 0.23 in 10,000. CDC's average death rate for all causes, 4.37 in 10,000. death rate from the Gardasil product during Merck's trials, 8.5 in 10,000. The death rate from Gardasil product is nearly twice as high as the US background rate, and over 30 times as high as that of the cervical cancer it fraudulently claims to protect you from. Case closed. The 10 deaths during the trial were 2 automobile accidents, 1 plane crash, 1 suicide, 1 case of all, 1 septic shock, an unexplained sudden death 2 years after the last dose, 1 gunshot wound, 1 stomach cancer, and 1 cerebral hemorrhage. None of those were caused by the vaccines. The OP is telling us about his research without doing any actual research into the causes of death. Sounds ironic, but also sounds very common for anti-vaxxers. This next post comes from I Am Freddie Mercury. My husband is the bartender, and I was there waiting for him to get off work. I was the only person at the bar, and the lights were all in bright. He literally said, "Hey guys, sorry, we are done serving people for the night." 1 star. I am beyond disappointed and disheartened. I had to put the review up. My husband and I came from out of town. We enjoy New York City. We went into this very open and servicing bar, and the bartender yells at us, "Guys, we're done. We're not serving you people." You don't want to believe that people are actually racist, especially in one of the best cities in the world. But unfortunately, if you're not white, you will not be serviced. Luckily, my lovely green money can be spent somewhere else, but black people just stay away. It's not even worth it. What disturbs me about that is there's a like on it. The business owner responded, "Hi OP, sorry that you feel this way. After reviewing the CCTV, I can see that you walked in at 1:57 a.m. We have a 2 a.m. license which requires us to do a 1:30 a.m. last call. At that time, we turn the outside lights off. If you would like to discuss in more detail, please feel free to contact me directly." This next post comes from Wasting Time 1994. Scathing vet review from someone who has never been there. 1 star. Absolutely the worst vet office I have ever been at. I absolutely regret ever taking my puppy here. The building is not well kept and it smells terrible. The staff is very uncaring. The vets do not know what they are doing. The whole vet office has a very unprofessional demeanor about them. I would never recommend anyone to go here. If you care about your dog or cat, you should look up other vet offices and take your businesses elsewhere. I truly believe it could be one of the worst vet facilities in city. Response from the owner. This gentleman and his pet have not been a client or patient at our hospital. We have no record of a visit with any patients. We invite anyone to stop by, take a tour, meet our doctors and our staff. You will find that this review is invalid and inaccurate. We believe that you will find we have clean, well-kept facilities. Mr. OP may have mistaken our hospital with another, and we are sorry he had a poor experience elsewhere. Again, we welcome anyone to come by and decide for themselves. This could be a case of mistaken identity in businesses, or this could be a case of quit your bullshit. This last post comes from Penguin Push. Yelper cries racism and gets called out by business owner. George B. 1 star. Terrible experience at Blade & Timber. Employee, Jordan, treated my party terribly. Was monitoring and staring at us throughout our hour time slot. Would not give us our preferred experience, then proceeded to make us leave the premises because my friend was Hispanic. He was acting wrong to my Hispanic friend on his birthday. The entirety of our experience, and I do not feel as if he was treated right. Please do not go to Blade & Timber, as I do not want anyone to have the experience that I have had. Jordan should be reevaluated as an employee. George, I am so glad you had the audacity to write this review. I don't often get to step in and respond to reviews, largely because my staff is so dang incredible. But when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. First and foremost, Jordan is an amazing employee and team leader. He was watching you like a hawk because your party was acting stupid and illegally sharing beers with guests under 21 years old. I don't care about your background, gender identity, country of origin, the color of your skin, or the language you speak. But I do care if you are breaking the law in our facility. We are one of the safest axe throwing facilities in the country. we take great pride in setting the bar across the industry and doing things the right way. Of equal importance, we take great pride in serving our customers well. We've served hundreds of thousands of customers at 6 locations across the nation, and we've had to throw out fewer people than I can actually count on my 2 hands. The best part of this is that you tried to paint a picture of my man Jordan as rude and racist. This is the same Jordan whose own mother immigrated to the US from Mexico. You have the audacity to call out a staff member by name, yet you have to make up a story and hide behind a fake Yelp alias to try to stir the pot. If one of our staff members was actually being racist, or any of the other myriad of things we don't stand for, I can assure you that we would take action. But in this scenario, you're just using a fake name to tell a fake story to try to paint a fake picture about a real and honest person just trying to do his job. I can't let that fly here. If I could give you a Yelp rating, you would earn 0 stars. Alright, my dashing dudes, that is going to do it for today's stories in r/QuitYourBS. I hope you liked them, and I'll link them down in the description as always. If you liked what I did, go ahead and feel free to leave a subscribe and drop a like. Also drop a comment down below with what you'd like me to read next. We do suggestions on Fridays. But with that being said, I'll see you in the next video.